Hello and welcome to Turn to Your Doom, a choose your own adventure podcast where we explore the many paths and meet the many ends of choose your own adventure book. Today we are continuing with the other half of the book Moon Quest, written by Anson Montgomery, originally published in 1996, updated in 2008. And with me today is somebody who thinks rocks are cool. Art.
Hi, rocks are kind of cool.
They actually are.
I'm generally pro rocks. It's hard to say, which one's the best, but I generally like them when I can touch them and they don't hurt my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone that comes from a place with a lot of cool rocks, yes.
Oh, I have a lot of cool rocks here as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really big rocks. And they have holes in them, and they go into the earth.
Yeah. Montana has a lot of gemstones.
Ooh.
Because we're in such close proximity to Yellowstone, there used to be a lot of volcanoes here, and so there's lots and lots of gemstones. And there's actually a really cool specific kind of sapphire that only comes from Montana called a Yogo sapphire, and they are mostly purple. But there's other cool stuff. We also have, sapphires that come in, pink, green, red, every color you can think of. But yeah, there are places where you can just go and dig up crystals, and you only have to dig, about a foot under the surface of the dirt.
I mean, I heard that there's also places where you can just go and get crystal meth pretty easily as well.
Yes, it's called Great Falls.
I heard that's
There's also a military base there. And a famous bar called the Sip and Dip where you can go watch mermaids swim in a tank.
Well, you know what? If you're high on crack, yes.
Very cool.
100%. Not only very cool, but maybe it'll make you forget about the bugs that are under your skin. For just a little bit.
The Sip and Dip, 5 years ago, would have been 100% that. It is a classy establishment now. But yes. So we're reading Moon Quest. We're reading the other half of the book. Last time, we had the option of being a tour guide or going on a geology mission. We chose tour guide. It was kind of boring. We took some delegates around, and they almost got assassinated. And one of them also blew us up in an ending. But we're going the other way now. So hopefully it should be more interesting. At least it looked more interesting from what I've seen. But yeah, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, hopefully the delegates, hopefully we don't have to have our boss say, "Oh, you're extorting me for wanting more money."
Oh, God. Yeah. I've given you more duties. I'm not paying you more, though, unless you prove yourself. Bitch, give me a raise.
Put that in fucking, writing.
I'm calling my union.
God, goddamn fucking bosses.
You're also, basically a child.
Yeah.
From what I can tell. You don't actually see yourself in any of these illustrations, but all your friends who are the same age as you are, and they all look pretty young. I'm not gonna lie.
I would imagine, yeah. That's generally, if you're not, a child, you're, most likely a,
teenager.
Very close to it.
Yeah. Alright, so we're starting on page 14. We're going straight into the geological mission. Normally, you would jump at the chance to guide people, especially important diplomats, around some of your favorite spots. But the opportunity to go on an extensive research mission is too good to pass up. The mobile operation will be exploring some of the old volcanoes, mountains, and fault zones that give Luna its geographic personality and quirks. Even though you will be with professionals, you know there is a certain amount of danger. Working outside, far away from any well-established habitation zone, you run the risk of injury or worse. Still, all that you can think about is being involved in important research. There are also rumors about strange beings that live on the far side. Of course, you do not believe them. Most of the time. So you're going to the far side, Tamil says, stressing the word far. How did you know? I just made up my mind. Easy. That's what I would have chosen, Tamil says with a smile. Besides, I had a 50% chance of being right. You head back. That is a good point.
Well, okay. So, what do you have to do on the moon? Be where you're currently at, or go to a place where you're not currently at, which I'm assuming is not the place you call the far side.
Yeah, which sounds rad and fun. You head back to your home. You head back to your home tunnels, making a mental list of what you will need to bring. The research equipment will be taken care of by the expedition manager. You get your no-pressure suit. You'll need it for exploring Luna's surface. With a well-rehearsed routine, carefully check the suit for holes and wear spots. The shiny material feels stiff and brittle, but you know it is durable. You will have to withstand the extremes of heat and cold that characterize lunar weather, and the jagged rocks that make up much of the landscape. The entire suit ensemble is amazing, but the helmet is truly a piece of technological mystery. A polarized glass visor allows you to go from pitch dark to glaring sunshine while retaining the perfect field of vision. Miniaturized controls for a wide range of functions nestle comfortably next to the wearer's head. The silvery material that forms the body of the suit is laced with control nodes connecting to the helmet. All you have left to pack are toiletries and clothes. You also remember to get out your wrist comm. It's you know what? The other half of the book would have been so much easier if you just brought your fucking wrist cell phone.
Oh my god. Why would you just have that on you?
I know, right? But no, you didn't take it. I'm
that
so
should
glad.
just be the default.
Right? I'm so glad you're taking it with you this time. I'm already more confident about this. All you have left to pack are toiletries and clothes. You also remember to get your wrist comm. Its directional finder, which is hooked up to a satellite network, will come in handy if you get lost on the lunar plains. You will also download your geology texts and a few books you have been meaning to read into your wrist comm. Now you just have to tell your parents. Oh, Mom, you start. I just found out I've been invited to go on the expedition. But I thought the expedition wasn't for a while yet, she says. And I was hoping you would talk to us before making a final decision. Yeah, but I have to go right now or I can't go at all. Oh, I got a 97 on my exam this morning. Your mother's worried expression softens with pride. Well, I guess that excellent grade buys you some freedom. You can go, but please be very careful. Thanks, Mom. You grab your bag and rush through the airlock to the main corridor. The note from Dr. Nasir, the leader of the expedition, said to meet the team at the central staging station for transport. You travel through a maze of corridors and drop chutes. The departure point is next to the main airlocks. To the surface, when you arrive, you see men and women scurrying along huge piles of gear. Looking out one of the viewports, you see the vehicle that will transport the team over the rugged lunar territory. It looks vaguely insectoid, although you have only seen pictures of such creatures. The vehicle has rows of mechanical legs that are folded up in pairs on each of the 3 segments of the bus. Normally, the buses travel on huge spiked wheels, but even those can't manage some of the terrain you will encounter. When the bus reaches rocky terrain, the legs will extend to slowly maneuver the rough landscape. Moving through the chaos of the people, instruments, and gear, you find Dr. Nasir and check in. You expected Dr. Nasir would be a stern, forbidding academic, but the tall, handsome woman greets you very warmly. I really like her. She's described as handsome and tall.
Yeah, I like handsome.
Yeah. You locate a nice corner of the way and try to make yourself comfortable. No sense of getting in the way. You think as you shut your eyes. Wake up, the time has come, a voice booms in your dreams. What? Where? You mumble. Oh, Doctor, are we ready? Like many Earthlings on Luna, the first time Dr. Nasir looks a bit disoriented, but her intelligence is obvious. I am fully prepared for this mission, Dr. Nasir tells you all firmly in a short opening speech. I may be Earthborn, but I grew up in Egypt, and am familiar with a climate you'd find surprisingly similar to the moonscape. In the desert, just as on the moon, we study geologic subtleties that most people would lose patience with. Dr. Nasir's speech is short, and informative, and you gather that although she is wise and very sharp, she lacks a sense of humor. We're ready, she says. Let's get on board. Putting your suit on and tucking your helmet beneath your arm, you prepare for the journey. Even though the bus is pressurized, everyone remains suited up at all times. In a crash, there's no time for dressing. While you are trying to find where you sit, you hear a familiar voice. How'd you end up on this mission? Sarah Burns asks with a smile on her face. Emma's sister used to be shy around you, but that seems to have worn off. I just saw your sister at the Ponics Park, you say. She didn't mention you were going on this trip. Yeah, well, I didn't know until right after the exams myself, but here I am. Good to see you, Sarah. I'm sure the expedition will be fun. Here, I'll help you get ready for the ride. I've done this a couple times already, she says. By the way, there is an illustration of Dr. Nasir, and yes, she is tall and handsome.
Ooh.
Once you are strapped in, Dr. Nasir comes by and checks up on you. You're nervous, but you don't want her to know. Everything's fine, you tell her. Oh, one more thing, says Dr. Nasir. On this trip, you have an opportunity to learn more about the specific aspects of each job. I'll be working with the analysis team, but you might want to learn more about the machines we use. Driving one of these rigs almost requires a degree itself, and operating the exoskeleton survey equipment is an art form. Let me know. Thanks, Doctor.
Which is why we can only have children whose mothers are dead pilot them. It's, I'm sorry, but you need to get the fucking robot. Also, you won't find this out until a very later in a way that won't make any sense and that will reiterate multiple times over the next 20 years. But yes, they are powered off of your dead mother's soul.
Yes.
Somehow.
Also, you're going to go through this like 2 more times in different universes. One of them, you're real gay.
Yeah.
And your boyfriend's head explodes in front of you.
Also, people will not understand that the person who is grooming you, the older woman that's grooming you, is grooming you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that her kissing you on the mouth is very inappropriate. But anyways, yeah, have fun in your robot. Fighting horrors beyond human imagination. It's okay, whatever. There's just a screaming dodecahedron destroying Tokyo right now. Thanks, Doctor. This is going to take some thinking. You would like to work with Dr. Nasir. You know she could teach you an incredible amount in the lab, but the excitement of being in control of these powerful machines draws you as well. If you decide to work with Dr. Nasir, go on to the next page. If you decide to learn how to run the machines, turn to page 40.
I mean, we need to learn how to run these robots, right?
Yeah. Alright, so if we decide to learn how to run the machines... Oh my god, for a second there I thought I turned to the wrong page. You came on this mission to explore the lesser-known areas of the world you live in. Doing lab work would be like staying back in Tycho Colony, but without the comforts. As these thoughts go through your head, you look out the forward viewport. The scratched glass distorts your view, but you can see the wide gray plain of the crater floor. Fine dust is kicked up by the tires, but with no wind or air, it settles down quickly. And you know that your tracks will stay here until something else comes this way. After a while, the mountains that form the crater's rim get closer and closer. The peaks are jagged and sharp. Dark shadows alternate with bright spots of brilliant reflection. Looking at the mountains, you do not see how the bus can possibly make it over them. You have seen some pretty amazing things in your life. Feats that would be impossible on Earth. Buggies being lifted over high crevices by flimsy-looking lines, pulled by well-anchored men, and radio transmitters supported by towers a centimeter in diameter and over 100 meters tall. No atmosphere and light gravity allow for many incredible possibilities, but you are still doubtful of making it over the mountains. Still wondering about the upcoming ascent, you feel a tap on your shoulder and you turn around to see an older man with a relaxed manner. Howdy, he says. My name's John. I'm supposed to show you how we work some of this stuff. Nice to meet you, John, you reply. What stuff? How we get this bus over the mountains, for one thing. I'll tell you, it's a sight to see. Okay, you say doubtfully. What should I do? Asking questions is a good start. Even if you think it sounds stupid, go ahead and ask. Lives have been lost by folks who don't ask enough questions, John tells you. But right now, you just stay there. When the bus stops in about 10 minutes, we'll go outside and set up the winch. The 10 minutes seem to take forever, but eventually John comes back and tells you to get ready. You carefully align the contact points of your helmet. Once it's on you, you bring up the display and everything seems to check out. A layer of air about a centimeter thick separates your skin from the suit. This internal air pressure acts as a buffer against falls and provides a few extra seconds if you have a puncture. Let's go, John says over the helmet radio system. He turns and heads to the airlock. You both get in. You hear the rushing of air being sucked out for reuse. And then you can't hear anything except for your own breathing. Moving out carefully, you crawl down the ladder and jump the last 5 meters to the moon's surface. John looks over the big pile of gleaming metal machines. Grabbing one, he pulls out what looks like a huge gun and turns towards you. He kneels on one leg and starts adjusting it. This is the line gun, your helmet radio crackles. I'm going to shoot a placement up to that ledge on the closest mountain. You see John point to the dark mountain that dominates the area, directly in front of you. Once we get up there, we'll pull the big winch up, and that will bring the bus up after us. Oh, you get to shoot a harpoon gun, basically. Or a grappling hook, almost. Okay, you say, a little more than nervous. John stands, and before you realize it, he has shot a spike with a long metal cable trailing behind it. You see the spike crash into the side of the mountain and take hold. Give me your hand, John says. Prepare to witness some of the wonders of a low-gravity lifestyle. You put your gloved hand in his, and he hits the retract button. You both speed up the mountain to the ledge. You hold your breath the whole way up. Once you are both safely on the ledge, John removes a winch and pulley set from his backpack. The metal gleams under the harsh sunlight. John uses the line from the winch to pull up an even larger pulley system, an engine from the bus. You sit down on a flat rock and watch him set everything up. After an hour, he tells you that the show is about to begin. Waving his hand and speaking through the radio, he tells you the people working at the bus to connect the steel line. Turning towards you, John asks, "Want to throw the switch?" You answer quickly, yes. The lever to turn on the winch is small, but when you flip it, you feel the vibration through the soles of your boots. You look over the edge and see the bus lift up on its rear tires as the tightening line fills the front end. Then you were able to see the bus's insect-like legs work. The legs extend and find holds on the rocky face of the cliff. You see the bus climb slowly but steadily up towards the ledge. You're amazed the way its whole body moves, like something alive. We got the idea from spiders, John says over the radio. I've seen pictures of spiders, you say, but I've never seen a live one. Someday you should check out Earth, John says. Right now I want you to watch the bus and make sure the winch is turned off when it gets to the lip of the edge. We don't want to pull the bus onto the ledge and have it bang into the rocks. I'm going to go up to that higher ledge and set the second stage, he says, pointing to a rock outcropping. Stay here. Okay. I feel like they could have just, the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, yeah, they could have gave it legs.
It already has legs. It just needs, it just needs a big space helmet.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. They could have gave it more legs.
More legs.
They could have gave it...
It already has, 8. Give it more.
Give it 10 legs, that'll make it better.
Yeah, there you go. John shoots another line out and it's gone. You see him up above working to find a secure spot. Turning your attention back to the bus, you watch its slow progress up the steep rocks. You're mesmerized by the slow movement of its legs as they climb with careful precision. Suddenly, a strong tremor shakes the earth. You throw your arms out instinctively, but you bounce forward and then are thrown face down on the ground. A rock crashes next to you. You struggle to get back on your feet. You call John and the bus on your radio, but there's no reply. The bus slowly continues to climb up the cliff face. You see that the rock has hit its nose and dented it. What should you do? John has left another line gun behind, but he told you to stay there and wait for the bus. You don't know what will happen if you turn the winch off. If you turn the winch off and go see if John is all right, turn to page 57. If you decide to wait for the bus to make it to the ledge, turn to page 73.
Let's wait for it to get to the ledge.
Yeah, we should probably follow instructions.
Yeah. That could cause later problems if the bus is gone.
Yeah.
Because you fucked up.
Yeah. You decide you'd better stay put as John has instructed. You look down at the bus and wonder why no one answers your calls. The bus continues its slow climb up the cliff face. Minutes tick by. You take a sip from the nozzle of your helmet. The water sucrose mix tastes horrible, but you can feel energy flow into your body. The bus has almost reached the lip of the edge. The clear blast glass at the front will allow you to see the control room and check that everyone is all right. The sun's rays are shining directly on it, and it's impossible to penetrate the glare. You turn the winch to a stop position as you see the bus settle. Maybe you should climb down to the airlock, you think. The airlock's open operation is fairly simple, and you should be able to open it by yourself. Just as you start the precarious climb down, you see the airlock's outer door revolve to the closed position. Hopefully this means that someone is using it, and not a malfunction that has caused it to lock. After a few more minutes, you see the airlock cycling again. You hold your breath until a suited figure carefully pulls itself from the doorway and looks around. Up here, you shout! But the figure does not turn towards you. You keep waving your arms and shouting until eventually the person does see you. Almost before you realize it, a shot from his or her cable gun has established a stable line on the ledge beside you. In only a few seconds, the figure is seemingly flying up towards you. Once he reaches you, you see that his face through the helmet visor, that it's one of the men you saw loading the bus earlier. What's going on here? The voice says, as the man touches his helmet to yours, a backup way of communicating when radios are down. We didn't know it was happening. The quake must have knocked out your radio. Are you all right? Not really, you answer. But right now John needs help badly. I think he was hit by some of the rocks on the upper ledge. Since my radio is broken, I have no idea if he's okay or not. That's the bad news. I have to check out to make sure the bus is here first. Then I'll go check on John. Even as he says this, he starts to work the control panel of the winch. You see the bus move slowly and carefully back down the cliff. In a little while, you see more people struggle sideways out of the airlock. They seem to be trying to bring a stretcher with them. 4 people use line guns to get to the ledge where John is. You hope he's not hurt. Then you feel the wooziness of delayed shock hit you like another quake. You pass out. When you wake up, you see that the bus is at the bottom. There's no sign of the medical crew. The man who first came out of the airlock is shaking your shoulder. You see his lips moving, but hear only silence. Time to get down to the bus, you hear, as he remembers to lean down. What about John? You ask. He'll be fine. He's sleeping right now. You're barely aware of being taken down to the bus. Hurtling down a sheer cliff face with only a thin line to hold you doesn't even register as dangerous after the events of the day. I like how you just jump. You're like, it's fine. Dr. Nasir is waiting for you inside the airlock. She takes you to your sleeping berth. As soon as you lie down, you fall asleep again. All your dreams are full of falling rocks and exploding mountains. When you wake up hours later, you don't really feel refreshed, but at least the adrenaline from the excitement has worn off. As you walk up the length of the bus, you see that John was not the only one hurt in the quake. The movement must have really shaken up the bus. A number of people are walking around with bandages and slings. There you are, Dr. Nasir says behind you. I was wondering if you were going to wake up. We have to make some new plans since this unforeseen circumstance has altered our original goal. What do you mean? Well, she starts, some people are going to go back in the emergency runners. With so many injuries and John in such serious condition, we've decided to cut the mission back. We're going to continue, but with the bare bones crew. Does this mean you want me to go back, you ask? I think the decision should be up to you. Now, you know just how dangerous these expeditions can be. If you do choose to continue, we will have plenty of work for you. With so many people hurt, every pair of hands will be invaluable. Let me think about it for a moment. I'm still a bit shaky, you tell her. Don't take too long. The emergency runner is leaving in 20 minutes. They can't wait around unnecessarily. Or if you choose to stay with the expedition despite the danger, turn to page 27. If you decide to go back to Tycho with John to make sure he is all right, turn to page 127.
Let's do the second one.
Go with John.
Yeah.
Back home. 127. There we go. The emergency runner is crowded with the wounded and their caregivers, so you try to remain as unintrusive as possible. Every now and then you check the life meters connected to John. He seems to be sleeping, with nothing immediately apparent to indicate that he is severely wounded, but all the monitors are flashing yellow lights. Since the runner is meant as an emergency vehicle, it consists of engines and little else. Instead of seats, you have to strap yourself to the metal floor, and the noise inside the cabin is tremendous. Still, you are very thankful to be here at all. You hate to think what would have happened if you couldn't get John to the hospital. The transport speeds across the plain. Every time it hits a rock, the runner goes flying. Each bump makes you worry more about John, but his readings stay pretty much the same. After an hour of being bumped around, you finally spot Tycho in the distance. One of John's lights goes to the red scale. You notice that the med staff looks concerned. You can make it, John, just a little farther, you say. By the time you reach the city, 3 of John's life support ratings are red. As soon as the runner stops, the crew from the hospital swarms aboard and takes all the wounded away. You are left to yourself, and you're not really sure what you should do. So, you head home. Your parents are surprised to see you, but you're too drained to answer their questions. You call the hospital to see if John is okay. They put you on hold, and you start to realize that you did not escape completely unscathed from the quake. Bruises cover your arms, but when you hear a voice that makes you forget your pain. Yes, it seems we've got him here in time. He's still in critical condition, but we expect a full recovery. He owes you his life. Thanks. Thanks a lot, you say, before hanging up the phone and going to bed. The end.
Okay.
So, if we go the other way, if we decide to stay with the mission, there is nothing you can do to help John. You decide to stay with the expedition. Still, you feel pretty nervous as you watch the emergency runner start off across the silent, dusty landscape. Good luck, John, you whisper. This time you stay in the bus during the ascent over the rim of the mountains. You clench your fists every time there is a bump. Before lunch, the bus is at the top of the rim. As you peer out the port window across the sharp landscape of the moon, since there is no real color to speak of, everything looks as though it is both near and far away at the same time. Going down is even worse than going up, but at least it goes faster. Almost before you realize it, you're back on flat ground. The bus makes good time, and as soon as you reach the first site for analysis, a temporary camp is set up. You can feel the pressurization modules humming through the ground around the tents. The days pass, and many samples are taken and analyzed. You become very familiar with the machine that grinds the stones down to a perfectly smooth polish on one side. After the excitement of the first day, a pleasantly dull routine takes over. The expedition spends about 3 days at each site. So many samples are taken that most have to be stored for later analysis back at the colony. By the time you reach the 4th site, you're almost a grizzled professional. That's when the excitement starts up again. Everyone is busy working at their stations when Dr. Nasir lets out a yell. You see her jumping wildly up and down. Since she's usually so quiet and reserved, you decide to find out what's causing her excitement. By the time you get to the work area, a small crowd is gathered. So I placed a sample into the shielded pouch, you hear her say, and then I thought nothing more of it. This was just a piece of radioactive rock. Unusual on the moon, but not unheard of. I gave it no thought until I started working on the sample here, and that is when I realized what it must be. You feel the crowd straining to hear her conclusion. It was the remnant of a nuclear explosion, a piece of radioactive slag created when the incident occurred. Judging from the half-life of the primary isotopes and the amount of decay, I would say that the explosion happened at least 50,000 years ago. But that would be before humans ever set foot on Luna. A voice stops off before trailing off. Exactly, Dr. Nasir exclaims. Somebody or something else besides humans set off the explosion that created the crater we live in now, which we live. Now it looks like we'll need to send for some archaeologists too. She looks at you excitedly. I'm glad you're on board, she says. We have years of exciting work ahead of us. The end.
So you don't go more into that idea? Maybe, I don't know. Explore a little bit?
I believe there's 2 branches on this side of the book.
Yeah.
The other one deals with aliens.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the last decision before this one.
So that was if we decided to go help John instead of stay with the thing, let me see if anything interesting happens. Oh, we can give John meth.
Oh.
I mean, it says it's stimulant, but same thing.
I'm gonna call it meth.
Let's see. Nothing exciting happens there. So, if we go back to when we had a couple options, we could work with the machines, the heavy equipment, or we could go with Dr. Nasir. So if we go with Dr. Nasir instead... Ooh, things get interesting. Okay. I saw the words mysterious hole. And I thought of your mom.
Got him.
A mystery, truly. Alright, so if instead of doing all that stuff, we decide to go with Dr. Nasir and go look at some rocks. When you tell Dr. Nasir you would like to work with her, she looks pleased. She motions for you to follow her to one of the storage rooms on the bus. You're not sure what all the secrecy is about, but you trust the doctor. Although you're a little curious about her sudden mysterious manner, once in the storage room, Dr. Nasir checks the door to make sure it is completely closed, then opens it quickly before shutting it tightly again. She sees you staring and gives a self-conscious laugh. Just making sure no one's listening in, she begins. I'm really glad you chose to work with...
this is... She is about to groom
no!
you. Oh,
no! Oh, no,
Did your father put you up to this?
You have a mom, though. You just spoke to her before leaving.
Well, she's dead because her soul has
she's dead now.
Like Ava.
But within an hour of you talking to her and leaving, she's dead. I'm really glad you chose to work with me, because now I can tell you what the expedition is all about. Otherwise, I think I would have been forced to keep you in the dark. About what, you ask? The city we are about to explore and study. What city?
About how your mom is actually, the first you think is your mom is actually adopted.
It's actually a clone of your mom.
Yeah. That robot you're in, guess what? Powered off of her soul.
Yep.
Your real mom's soul. Yep.
Yeah. Your clone mom doesn't have a soul, by the way. Don't worry about it.
Yep. And she doesn't love you. She's lying.
Yeah. What city? I thought we were going to the other colony. That's just it. We aren't studying one of our colonies. We're going to study one of the cities that was here before us. Dr. Nasir waits a few seconds before the importance of this information to sink in. Our mission is to determine who or what made these cities and what happened to them. Wow, you're talking about aliens from other planets, aren't you? You ask with mounting excitement. This is turning into a much bigger adventure. Yes, the doctor answers soberly, as though to temper your enthusiasm. Do you have any idea how old the ruins are, you ask? No. All we know is they are old. Countless centuries have passed since any living creature has walked along these streets. Since there is no atmosphere or water to wear things down, they tend to remain pretty much as they were, although they show some signs of aging. The doctor looks at her watch. But right now, we have to prepare for tomorrow. And I'm sure that nothing we can imagine will come close to the reality of what we will see there. Thanks, Doctor. I'm glad I chose to work with you. This is very exciting. Throughout the day, you can think of nothing but the alien city. And that night, you dream about dusty relics coming to life before your eyes and reveal secrets about the past. You wake up the next morning. You aren't sure if the dreams were good or bad, but you do know that you miss your own bed and its regulated softness meter. Your head is still fuzzy when the doctor comes looking for you. Tells you that you're leaving for the ancient city site in just a few minutes. Getting all the gear together for the day's expedition takes a while. Your suit feels loaded down with the gadgets that are strapped to it. And you decide this is what people on Earth must feel like all the time with gravity. And you're glad that you will be able to take additional weight off at the end of the day. Riding in a single-unit exploration craft, you and Dr. Nasir head towards the ancient city. For a long time, you notice nothing out of the ordinary. Everywhere you look, you see rocks and gray sand. But then you realize that something is odd about these rocks. They don't seem quite natural, as though they've been altered by somebody. or something. A strange feeling overcomes you. You notice that the doctor has been glancing over you frequently. So, you feel it as well. I think so, you respond hesitantly. Good. Sensing the hidden is a valuable tool. But, right now we are going to see something a bit more interesting. With that, the doctor stops the exploration craft. She exits the craft, bringing with her a sliver of rock. She slides it into a hole in one of the bigger rocks in your path. It fits like a key in the keyhole. A large hole big enough to walk through suddenly appears in the rock face. Follow me, the doctor says.
Oh no, she just released the Heartless on the island.
No!
Your friend Riku's about to turn evil, I'm sorry.
No! Riku! Why are our shoes so big? Our feet are too goddamn big for our feet. Why is there a talking duck and a dog here now?
A talking duck, which is canonically one of the most powerful mages in Final Fantasy history.
God, I love Kingdom Hearts.
Also, people complaining about, Donald never heals me. Fucking changes behaviors in the goddamn settings.
Yeah, God.
God damn.
There are mechanics for this. Use them. Okay. Follow me.
You just have him set as aggressive.
Yeah.
You can have him heal you.
Or you can have him blow things up. It's up to you. God, I miss Kingdom Hearts now.
Well, they just put out another version of the game for PC.
Oh
so,
my God.
Another.
I might have to play it.
You might have to buy it. Oh no.
Fuck.
And of course they didn't release all of them. They just did, I think, the first and second one.
I'm okay with that. I love the first one the most. I actually never played it. I watched my cousin play it.
Well, you could play it yourself and be like, wow, this Little Mermaid rhythm game is really
I'll just start messaging my cousin and be like, Daddy! The Heartless! Alright. You stay here in the entryway while I check out the rooms ahead. Okay, you say in a small voice. The doctor leaves you in a room with polished stone walls that look like the inside of a geometry problem. You sit down to keep from getting disoriented, and then you lean back against one of the walls. Another hole opens up across from you. The opening that the doctor went through seemed to lead to a room like the one you were in. In the next room you see movement and colors, and the flash of metal gleaming, and what looks like sunlight. This is definitely weird, you think. Somehow the swirl of movement doesn't scare you, although you aren't sure why. If this sort of thing happened back in Tycho, you would probably be running to the psychologist station as fast as your feet could take you.
For some reason, the hole you see in the wall is not scaring you. It's like it was made for you.
Oh, God! The mystery of Amikari. This hole is made for me! Next thing you know, in like 6 months, you're coming out the other end shaped like spaghetti. You inch a little towards the hole. As you get closer, it becomes harder to clearly see what is going on. Doctor, are you there? You call softly over the radio, but you get no answer. Come in, doctor, you yell. You feel a strong urge to check out this odd room, but you remember what the doctor told you. Wait here, were her actual words. But underneath was unspoken, and don't do anything stupid. The urge to just stick your hand into the hole is becoming irresistible. This character is so me-coded. Oh, what's this mysterious alien hole? What if I just stuck my whole hand in it? Even though the doctor told you to wait here, she would probably want you to check this out. The little light show seems to be more than oddly shaped rocks or the reflection of light. You don't know exactly where Dr. Nasir went, though. And the radio doesn't seem to be working. Maybe if you went partway through the hole just to get a better view, you would be able to figure everything out. It seems like a good idea, but you're still uneasy. If you decide to go looking for Dr. Nasir, turn to page 55. If you choose to investigate the mysterious hole in the wall, turn to page 64.
If you decide to slide into the hole, that is exactly your size.
That is exactly the same shape and size as you.
Let's investigate the hole. I mean, we're teenagers, aren't
Yeah. All right.
we? I mean,
So.
that's just what teenagers do. We investigate holes.
All right. So page 55. You decide to get out of this strange room before you do something that will get you into serious trouble. With one last look at the pulsing colors, you head off in the direction that the doctor. Who gives a shit? All right, page 64. You move across the chamber and cautiously stick your hand into the glowing opening. Before it is even a centimeter inside, a bright flash blinds you. Without knowing how, you realize that you are no longer in your no-pressure suit. When your eyes clear, you see something you did not expect. Welcome, says a being seated in your father's favorite chair. You look around and see that you are in the study of your home. Even the burn marks on the cabinets are there, from when you played Moonrock Miner as a kid. But deep down, you know that this is not really your home. You are dressed in your work uniform. Fear grips your stomach. Who are you? You gasp. A figment, the man replies. You notice that his face is smooth, and his eyes are a deep gray, but his other facial features seem to constantly shift and change. Your mind is creating this whole scene, he goes on, in an attempt to make sense out of the impossible. What do you mean? You are interfacing with our alien machines in a manner that makes you comfortable, the creature says as he leans forward. I am the captured essence of your race. You mean the aliens who built this place? Yes, he replies. We have been dead for a long time, but before our race died out, we created a method of passing on our legacy of achievement and failure. You are the first to receive it. Look, I just want to get out of here. This is not my home. And you tell me that not only are you an alien, you're a ghost. I'm not a ghost. My presence reflects the collective thoughts and feelings of my race. I am not alive, but I possess knowledge of what life was, and possibly will be. Everything fades, and with no hint of movement, the alien stands in the middle of a white plain that goes on for what seems like forever. Your eyes hurt. Why are you doing this? You ask. We do not want to have lived in vain. The wonders and terrors of our society created are precious. If none know of them, they might as well have never happened. Your presence alone is worth the tremendous effort that went into my creation. The alien smiles. Great. Now can you put me back into my body? I promise I'll remember you for the rest of my life. The alien's face fades, and then returns stronger than ever. Your knowledge is redemption, but not fulfillment. What fulfillment are you talking about? And how do you expect me to help you with it? All we need is for you to accept the knowledge we gathered over our collective lifespan. We have no heirs. Our once lush and vibrant world is all cold and dead. All that is left is our knowledge. All of our secrets are made known to you. Not only will your technology benefit from the advances we struggle to achieve, but you will also gain a new viewpoint on your own lives and heritage. Only by passing on the knowledge of our triumphs and failures can we rest in peace. Why not someone else? I am sure there's plenty of people that will be glad to accept your offer. Let someone more powerful take your knowledge, you say, overwhelmed by the enormity of such a responsibility. Unfortunately, that is not the way the process works. One of our machines focused their attention on you. They were tuned into your thoughts and yours only. We have only one chance, you. What if I say no? That is your right, for our knowledge can only be taken as a gift. We cannot force you. We would not, even if we had the means. The alien's face smooths out. You must choose whether our race is forgotten as a mystery or renewed in fellowship. If you tell the alien that you're sorry, but you do not want their knowledge inside your head, turn to page 80. If you agree to receive the alien's triumphs and failures, turn to page 104.
I want to receive its triumphs and failures and then make fun of it for totally beefing it with
You
one of the
fucking
girls.
nerd. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
Just like, wait, one of your triumphs is you ordered food without trying? What?
One of your triumphs is that you made a fleshlight that looked like a fish. Not a triumph, buddy.
Huh.
You tell the alien you will accept the offer. Very well then. I believe you have made the correct choice. Be forewarned, the assimilation process will be disorienting. Okay, but make it quick or I might change my mind, you say, trying not to think about what you agreed to. Thank you, the image says. Then he disappears. The inside of your head becomes a jumble of colors and sensations. You can't tell if 1 hour or 1 century passes as you live and experience the lives of the aliens. You cry for their pain and misunderstandings, but also experience the love they felt. Some of what happens is incomprehensible to you at first, but as you are wrapped in the experiences of a whole race, you gain insight into the dreams and fears that cause them to behave in their own particular way. The aliens who thought of themselves as the Chanalara, or the people who dream, placed tremendous importance on the ability to draw others into their thoughts. The closest human equivalent would be telepathy. You realize this is what happened when you were talking to the alien being. The Chanalara did not see with their eyes the way humans do, but they did absorb wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation through their bodies. Some of the art they created reached levels of complexity you could never have imagined, but they also used their gifts for torture and war. After a time, the thoughts and experiences of the Chanalara recede a little. You feel full of their knowledge. Not only are you aware of what they did, you'll also know how to do it yourself. Without having to test your ability, you know you can bring all of humanity into your dream. No single Chanalara would have been able to do this. You know that you have the power to stop all human pain and misunderstanding. By bringing others into your dream, you can make people reject war and prejudice. Peace will become a natural state. Do I have the right to make people do what I want, you ask yourself? You
No,
realize
you don't.
that you're...
Shut up. This is just leading to, you're going to become a fascist leader.
Yeah.
A dictator, and just like, oh, I can make everyone, everyone's going to be so much better underneath my rule because I'm so powerful. No. They don't.
Stop.
I already know what's going to happen.
There's a whole book series about it. It's called Dune, and it ends very badly for everyone.
They're like, oh, I'm the Messiah. No, you're not.
You're a twink
actually
on a desert planet.
You're actually basically eugenic Jesus if eugenics happened. And also there's some nuns that can time travel through thought.
No, they received the genetic memory of every woman before them.
Yeah, but they can also send that some information back, though.
Kinda.
Right?
No.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. Alagib.
The worst thing is Paul Muad'Dib saw what would happen well before he ever became the Messiah, and he still went through with it. He still saw, oh shit, I'm gonna cause the death of millions, billions of people and multiple cultures, but I'm still gonna do it anyways. And he gouged out his own eyes and wandered around the desert for a long time.
Also, Leto the Third, Emperor Leto the Third, a little freak.
Turned into a giant sandworm.
Yeah.
And was so sick of everyone, he told them all to fuck off. Alright, anyways, you realize that you are back in your body. When you look at the clock in the display panel of your helmet, you are surprised to see that only 15 minutes have passed since Dr. Nasir left you in this room. In that time, you have aged millions of years. You know the feelings and thoughts of countless others. Even in their alienness, they were much like humans. The one thing you do not know is why they died. The only life they have left now is within you, with the technology they possessed. You could help create a golden age of plenty. No one would go hungry, and people would be freed from crushing pain and work. But you would have to bring everyone into the dream of peace. The memory of how technology was warped to inflict pain and suffering is strong. Would people want me to give them this kind of peace and security? If you decide that bringing others into your dream is the only way to stop war and suffering, turn to the next page. If you decide you do not have the right to make people do what you want them to, turn to page 68.
We know where this leads to. There's so many stories. Let's become a dictator of Earth.
Okay.
Okay. We know what happens, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Holding the knowledge of the dream firmly in your mind, you sit and weave your way into the world of the unconscious. As you drift beyond the realm of the living and the thinking, you open yourself up to feeling and emotion. Using extreme care, you build an image of humanity as it should be. You try not to take away the free will that has grown so vital to humankind. At the same time, you try to construct a reality where violence becomes not only impossible, but also unthinkable. Each step shows you more. You realize how deeply the urge for violence goes. But you carefully track the taint down to its root and make sure that it will not be possible to revitalize such thoughts. Awareness of other human minds comes to you, and you see the changes that have already taken place. Even within yourself, you notice how your thoughts about force have been altered. Ideas like greed and fear and vengeance are extinguished from your mind until they exist only as arcane concepts, not as possibilities. There is resistance to your dream, but you reach out with even more power and subtlety. Some minds resist, while others embrace your dream as if they had always thought it to be true. You feel the thoughts of all humanity, and you see how those thoughts are growing closer and closer to harmony. Ideas come into your head and then spread out with the speed of thought. The flow is not a one-way channel, though, and once again the flood of emotion and memories engulfs you. The experiences are human. Each mind forms its own unique structure in the composite whole, and you feel a consciousness forming that goes beyond the individual. You can't tell how long it takes you to complete the process of sending and receiving thoughts, but when you're finally over, you feel a momentary peace. You look around and you realize you're still standing in the same room, as if nothing has changed. Will the passing of the dream succeed and help save humanity, or are humans doomed to extinction just like the alien race before you? These thoughts exhaust you. You become dizzy, and you have the sensation of becoming one with the universe, conquering time and space. It becomes a blur until you regain your focus, conscious that eons of time have passed. Do not be afraid, you say to the startled presence before you. I am the essence of the dead human race. We have been dust for longer than you believe, and we desire to have someone know and remember us. What do you mean? We attempted too much, and the cost was stagnation and death. The knowledge I pass on to you originated with the very first life forms that existed in the universe. It has been passed on from one extinct race of beings to another. I will help you avoid the fate of all those before you if you use it correctly. What do you want from me? Nothing, except for someone to know who we are and what we did. Someone to know the dangers of the path of power. We failed, but you do not have to. The end. Oh, so it's like one big loop, basically.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So basically, it's one big loop of one dead race passing on the same knowledge over and over again.
Yeah. Well, glad we did what we were supposed to on that one. I don't even remember what the goal was. Oh,
we were trying to unite all of humanity. And in the process, we lost our own.
What was the goal before?
Before
we
just
get the alien.
We were just investigating this alien city.
Weirdly enough, gaining the power of a lost alien civilization and trying to change the entire world is not the most unique ending to these sci-fi ones.
Yep.
Happens a lot more than you think it does. Well, is there anything? Is there anything else?
I'm looking back there. There's a little more, but also my mom keeps popping in to ask me something.
Well, I feel like we got the general thing. Yeah. I guess we're done.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was Moon Quest. It only has 15 endings, so there is a lot of just stuff to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well,
I would say
remember,
that
folks,
was properly a mid-book.
Yeah.
What we're continuing our mid-adventure on accident. Eventually we'll hit a good one. And then
We need to just read something by the Debbie Machine.
Yeah. Well,
We need to read the Trumpet of Terror or something.
yeah.
Alright, well, this was MoonQuest, and remember, if you try and combine all of human consciousness, you will just erase individuality. And if this is Evangelion, you all turn into Tang, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, you do turn to juice.
You just turn into orange juice. The end form of all humans is orange juice.
Yeah.
Alright, well, bye!
Bye.
Good night, Mr. the Missile.